9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to the weekly wrap with the USA Liberalists. Tonight we have your hosts are Jordan and Cody.
Hello.
We got some interesting stuff this week. We got, the Democratic Debate 2, Electric Boogaloo, the greatest sequel ever. I'm
looking at this 2020 Democratic presidential candidates. Is Clinton's not even currently announced, is she?
No, none of that first thing there.
I'm like,
that's not real.
What is this? I'm like, Carrie? Why is Carrie in this?
Yeah, those were are these people going to run? These are the people we think are going to run, but like half of them didn't.
They think Carrie's going to run.
Yeah, it was Carrie, like Eric Holder, Clinton again, which, dear God. Gillibrand, Gabbard, a couple other people that actually did run. So, but yeah, that first section there.
Why is Yang nowhere in this? Oh, there he is. Found him.
Yeah, he's further down.
I was like, are we seriously just excluding him from everything now? These ideas are too dangerous.
Super confused when I first read through this article or this. I just wanted something to show the faces of all the candidates that were running, because half of these people I do not remember or do not know their names. Yeah, it's got a little info thing down there too about it.
Dude, this is some of the worst. This is like the worst cropping from Photoshop I've ever seen for heads. It's actually bothering me.
But isn't it great though?
No, it's terrible. Politico, get your shit together. All right, whatever. Okay, so we've got the 24 candidates that have declared.
Look, I'd be willing to work for like $50,000 a year. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get a list of candidates so that we can kind of talk a little bit about them.
Yeah, actually, that's a good idea. What are your thoughts on Bennett? You think Bennett's gonna win?
I wrote down all my thoughts in the show notes.
I think my question is, who is Bennett? Let's see, Biden.
That was it. Who? Who is Bennett? A couple other things we're going to talk about tonight before we start getting into this too much. We're going to talk about the Trump Baltimore fake news scandal sort of thing. And then we're also going to talk about something that should have probably been in the news more, except the news is terrible and they don't report on real stuff anymore. But we're going to talk about...
what are you talking about? They do a great job.
The falling apart of the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty between the United States and Russia. So, important news. If you need real news, we got you. No reality TV news here.
That's right. The weekly wrap.
Sometimes.
The most trusted name in news. That's us.
But we're going to go back to the reality show that is the Democratic debate.
Okay. I was enjoying the debates. Okay, so how are we feeling about... Okay, so we've established Bennett's a loser. How about Biden?
Did you watch both debates?
I did not watch the first debate. I watched I watched some of the second debate, but honestly, mostly highlights. Because let's be real, Twitter basically had it covered on all of the important bits.
Yeah, and the only place I could find it was CNN, and I'm like, damn it, I don't want to click.
Okay.
It was the only place. I tried to do another viewing party, but I couldn't find it anywhere on Facebook. So
there's got to be a video archive somewhere that you could use.
Well, yeah, there probably is now, but at the time, even this morning, I couldn't really find the full length video of it. Just breakdowns from other. So I think CNN bought the rights to it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's go through this list here. Bennett is who? Who's Bennett?
Yeah, Bennett who?
I don't know.
Sleepy Joe Biden.
Yeah, Sleepy Joe. So he's the current front runner, in my opinion. Well, he's got the most name recognition, and he's not insane, so that helps.
Well, yeah, but he comes off
sort
as
of.
like he comes off as slightly senile. So I don't know.
Right, I don't think he would stand up very well to Trump in a debate.
No, he would get completely
during the
crushed
campaign
in any sort of like presidential debate.
Well, see, the thing is, I don't think they need to have more. The candidate needs to have more energy than Trump, because I think for most Democrats, he or she just needs to not be Trump, and they just need Trump to be bad enough, I guess.
Well, I mean, I think like even Democrats, I don't think they would appreciate seeing Biden just get on a stage and just get fucking pummeled for 2 hours.
Well, yeah, I would. I mean, the moderates would not go that way, I don't think, and so.
Yeah.
But I do think he's the front runner. He's at least one of the front runners. He's one of the top contenders. But in the second debate, he did a lot better than he did in the first debate.
That's true. He talked a lot more, but he also had a lot more like just weird mistakes where I can't tell if it was mistakes like there was something wrong with his prepping, like if he was just prepped wrong, or if he was just tired, or what was going on. Like, someone get this man a green tea or something, or a coffee or just something.
Wheel out the IV of coffee and just right into the veins, man.
Seriously.
Something.
We need to mainline some heroin for Biden.
Yeah, let's get Cocaine Mitch in here. They can share. Get him going.
Yeah, he'll give him a great rate. All right, so Booker, kind of the same problem as Bennett, but not as bad.
Well, I wrote down that he suffers from empty name recognition. Like, people know who he is.
Yeah.
But he's just not like sparkling. Like, they know who he is, but that's about it. Like, and then the whole like, this is my Spartacus moment, and Ben Shapiro always says he packs his angry eyes, and so it's like,
he totally does. He comes off as just like a lot of the people. This is going to be a common theme, in case anyone's wondering. Just plastic, way too prepped. Just nothing comes off as
over polished.
Yeah, nothing comes off as like him actually saying it. It feels like a robot that's wearing his face is saying it.
Well, yeah, that's why Ben Shapiro always says he packed his angry eyes, is because like he's like, okay, now it's time to be angry. Hold on, let me get my angry eyes out, and puts them on his face like a Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot to say with Booker. His night wasn't really. He didn't really do a lot.
He doesn't stand out.
Mm-mm. Like, I mean, he talked and had points and stuff, but like there was nothing major. Not like Bay over here, Tulsi Gabbard.
Oh yeah, she cleaned up.
That's right. Anyway, we'll get to Gabbard in a minute. She can't skip the line. Bullock is basically Bennett too. No one knows who he is.
Yeah, I wrote who. Yeah. I don't know this guy. I don't know who this guy is.
Buttigieg is sort of in the same camp as Booker. People know the name, but even less likely for someone. Like, if you say Buttigieg to a random person on the street, they're going to be like, "Who?"
Bless you.
Yeah, exactly. Castro, same thing. Delaney, same thing.
Well, Buttigieg, I call him Butter Nutmeg because that's what my wife thinks his name is. But he was pumped up by the media a lot, but he doesn't have much there. Yeah, but he's a young guy. Like, he's just starting out. Like, I think he's like 37 or something. He's still pretty young.
All right, I'm actually.
So he could go further in politics later, but he just doesn't have much there, and he keeps moving further left, but like slower than some of the other candidates. But he's not as toughly moderate as the moderates, so he's kind of a weird middle.
Well, that's sort of why he doesn't stand out. Like, he doesn't stand for anything. Like, there's no area where you can put a flag on it and say this is Buttigieg territory. You know, you can say that for people like Biden. You can say that for Harris. You can say that for Gabbard. You could say that for Sanders. You could say that for Warren, Yang, and all of the real frontrunners. But, I mean, it's like he kind of is in the same, like almost the exact same territory as O'Rourke, in my opinion. Where, like, yes, he'll come out and say things. but you never really feel like that's what he actually thinks. And then it ends
the
up
media,
being this weird thing where it's like no one actually ends up caring what he's saying.
The media played him up so much, and he believed his own hype, I think. And that's the same with O'Rourke.
Possibly, yeah. I'm not even sure why they pumped up Buttigieg. Like, nobody ever... Like, I've never heard anyone excited for Buttigieg.
He's gay, married, I think, is one of the reasons. He's checks off that intersectional box, and then he said something bad about Trump. So that's... If you want to run for the Democratic nominee for president, that's really all you need. You need to check off a couple intersectional boxes and then hate Trump.
All right, so... right in before we find out that like all of the male fucking contenders are gonna release like sex tapes of them doing it in the butt.
Oh, that's leaked out. Oh God, oh, no. I'm actually gay. Yeah.
Oh, look at how hard I'm getting railed. Oh man.
Oh, I love it. It's so good. That's gonna be clipped out forever now.
Like all
if we ever get famous, that'll be clipped out.
Like all the while you've got like on the like right before the video starts, like don't you dare let your penis touch me.
Yeah, someone releases the full unedited edition.
Oh,
behind
shit.
the scenes.
All right, so I'm gonna skip the line on Gabbard just a little bit because I feel like I can knock out most of this. Castro, Delaney, Gillibrand, Hickenlooper, Inslee, Klobuchar, Messam, Moulton, O'Rourke, Ryan, Sestak, Steyer, Williamson, and de Blasio, all of them either fall into fucking who is that, or just like you said, MD name recognition.
Yeah.
Just all of them. There's nothing going on with any of these people.
Julian Castro, in the first debate, he wanted government-funded abortions for men.
Right. I forgot about that.
To me, I don't know. He just kind of looks like a Bond villain or something. He just looks like he's scheming. I don't know.
Well, I'm waiting for any of these people to do something that, like, I don't know, defines them in some way that someone else doesn't do better. Basically.
Well, Delaney, I don't know who he is. Like, I couldn't tell you his history or anything.
He seems to be more moderate, from what I understand.
Yeah, he's a moderate. But to me, like in the first debate, or not the first debate, but the second debate, first night, he stood out because he was hitting Warren and Sanders as a moderate. Like, he had a few good sound bites in there that I was like, dude, who is this guy? I have to remember this guy, but
sure, but
I'm going to.
The problem is it didn't it's not like, because Gabbard and Harris had a real night. It wasn't one of those where it like translated into name recognition. It's just like, oh yeah, that guy that, you know, I think did a thing that one time.
Who was that guy like beating up on Warren and Sanders?
Yeah.
He didn't get a huge night, but I mean, I liked him, but I'm not going to vote for him.
Yeah.
I'm not a Democrat, so I can't vote for any of these people currently.
You know what? I'm going to save Gabbard and Harris for last because, you know,
we want to skip Gabbard.
Save the best for last. Save the best for last.
Gillibrand is Pander Machine 3000. She just says whatever she thinks people want to hear.
Yeah, Gillibrand is female Cory Booker, so I don't care.
Harris, her whole shtick seems to be vote for me because I'm a black woman.
We gotta wait for Harris.
You want to skip Harris?
We gotta wait for Harris.
Yeah, Hickenlooper is another. Who is that guy? I've heard the name before, but only because I pay attention to this, but I still don't really know who he is.
Honestly, unless we have like some comment for any of these people, we should probably just skip to Sanders. Because that's pretty much the same thing we're going to look at for all of these.
Yeah, I mean, I know.
Did you have some extra notes for some of these? Okay.
Yeah, some of them I do.
Okay.
I'll skip all the ones that are like, I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Who cares? But Jay Inslee, he's the governor of Washington State, which is the state north of me. And this guy is like super climate change man. He's current year Al Gore or something.
Okay.
But like that's his whole thing is like, elect me and I will save the planet. He's on the Green New Deal. Like this guy is batshit crazy. Thank God nobody knows who he is unless they live on the West Coast.
Ensley now has his nickname. He is now Captain Planet. Moving on to the next person.
Klobuchar just likes to throw things at her staff, but she's a moderate.
Eat salad with a comb.
Who are these guys? Yeah. Do we want to save Sanders?
No, let's put Sanders in.
So all I wrote down for Sanders is he's a shouting old socialist.
I mean, that's not entirely wrong. Like, he seems to be, I don't know. Sanders is really disappointing me recently because he just seems to be, like, he's standing on some principles, which I can appreciate, but he seems to be really towing the Democratic Party line ever since he joined the party. So, I don't know. And then for some reason, like he's gone more to the right and left some of his message behind, whereas the entire rest of the party has sort of met him in the middle. It's really weird.
Yeah, he probably would have done well in 2016. In 2020, I don't think he would win in a general.
No, there's no way.
I think Trump would.
He had his Obama moment, and it was wasted. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's still popular because people actually know who he is, and they still like him from 2016. And I think some people probably think, well, it's his turn now.
Yeah, but the field, I don't think the field to burn fire is the same as it was.
No, it is not. And it might come back if he does win the nominee, but
maybe.
Who knows? Warren is just female Bernie Sanders at this point.
I mean, yeah, because did you see that interview where she was basically asked if she was trying to differentiate herself so she doesn't look like basically female Bernie Sanders, and she's like, no, by the way, yes.
No, but let me tell you exactly that I'm doing that.
Right, exactly. It was dumb. And I'm like, Warren, you're obviously stealing his message.
Love their double speak.
You're obviously stealing his message. Possibly because this is so weird, because this weird team up is what I expected to see in 2016, but now they're doing it in 2020 when it makes no fucking difference. It's so strange. Williamson is just fun.
If Sanders or Warren get the nominee, do you think they'll have the other one as vice president?
Oh, God.
Sanders, Warren, Sanders.
If Warren ends up as, and because I feel like out of all of these, she's one of the most plastic, one of the most like
Pocahontas,
just one of the most willing to say whatever the fuck you want to hear. It legit doesn't seem to matter to her what you want to hear. She'll say it. And I'm just like, it's just kind of slimy. So I don't know. If Warren is involved as president or vice president, just, God damn it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Williamson.
I like Williamson. She's crazy.
She's odd.
She's crazy.
She says things that I like, but I think that a lot of her, I don't think I would agree with hardly any of her policies.
Oh man, did you really? How'd you feel about her talking about dark psychic forces assailing the country?
You know, I'm into that stuff. I understand those terms, like those spiritual terms.
I get it, but it sounds so weird hearing it on a fucking presidential debate stage.
It's a little hokey though. Like coming from her, it's not like this, like someone saying, like Jordan Peterson uses some of that language too.
Okay, that's true.
Because when he talks about, I wouldn't say
to the same degree, but yeah, okay, I can agree with that.
No, he's not like dark psychic, but he does talk about some of that same language, and that resonated with me, and I think that has to do with like a lack of spirituality in our society.
Sure.
And so I think people are resonating to her because she is offering some of that, though that type of spirituality she's offering seems freaking weird. weirder than normal, I guess. I mean, because you're going to get a little weirdness with spirituality. You always do. But hers is just like it's the whole healing crystals and the dark psychic energy of the country. And Donald Trump is.
Oh, yeah, and chakras and meditation. And
right. Which, if you're into that, great. Go for it.
I don't feel like policy should be based around that.
Right. I don't think she should be like, Russia needs to sign this treaty of cleansing to cleanse their spirit of hate. It's like, no. Like, who are you going to pick for the UN? Because I think some people in the Democratic Party are really going to resonate with her because they are looking for that sort of spiritual, religious speak or like.
To be fair, if there's anyone on that stage that could actually reach out to the disaffected liberals, it might actually be Williamson.
Yeah, like
it's really weird. But think about all the hippies that just don't vote anymore because at some point they just said, you know what, fuck this whole place.
Yeah, they're like, screw it, man. Let's go play hacky sack over here.
Yeah, we're gonna go on our fucking commune farm, and y'all can all go fuck yourselves.
One of the criticisms from the right of the left, I think, is that they often, and I'm not saying this is everybody, so hashtag not all, but is that they tend to worship the government as if it were like God. And I don't think the people that do that necessarily think of it that way, but they see the government as a power, and that power can be directed toward good as long as it's in their hands. So it's kind of like a similar thing, like, oh, here's a higher power, and they kind of believe that higher power is looking out for them. Oh, the government will take care of you, it's going to do all this good stuff for you, and if only the government had control of it, things would be better. It's like, well, you kind of hear those same arguments from like some Christian people, like, oh, you got to put your life in God's hands. He'll take care of you. If you just believe in God, like, it'll be better. If you just believe in the government, things will be better. And I think Williamson kind of makes that sort of appeal. And I do think that maybe not all human beings, but like human beings generally kind of have like a spiritual part of them. And I don't necessarily know why, but I mean, it would kind of explain why wherever human beings existed, religion existed. But I do think she does.
Collective. Rage Against the Machine.
Right, like, go for it, like, cool. But I do think she is making that sort of appeal because there are, especially in the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, people who kind of see the presidency as like a moral leadership. And I think she's tapping into that sort of thing. Where I think people on the Republican side, some of them will believe that, but not like, they're more like, God and my pastor and my church is there for spiritual. I want the government to build fucking roads and maintain the sewers and
basic stuff.
Do the things here on Earth and not much more,
Well, interestingly, I think out of anyone on this page, there's only 3 that I'm looking at and stand out as like real potential threats to Trump. There's Williamson, because I think she could tap a very underutilized section of the Democrats, as well as the hardcore base in the first place. Because I think she's unoffensive enough that pretty much beating any of these guys, like, nobody is going to be like, no, I'm not voting for Williamson, fuck her, out of the Democrats,
Well, yeah, and I don't think Trump's like brawler tactics will work very well on.
No, it would just bounce right off. Like, it would have almost no effect on her. Gabbard, I think, would also be very good, mostly because I think she could actually match Trump beat for beat as far as like actually being strong on the stage, and I think that would come off very well in her favor because she also comes off as being much more collected, much more refined, just probably a better leader in a lot of different ways. So I think that would actually work in her favor to sit up there and brawl with Trump and like actually go back and forth with him. And I was gonna say Biden, but I'm trying to imagine Biden actually on the debate stage, and I think he just gets slapped around because he's really not very good at dealing with underhanded, just BS. Remember when Buttigieg was like throwing softballs to Biden and he just wasn't catching them in the first debate?
Yeah.
Like it was just he just doesn't respond well to off the cuff, and that's pretty much
right.
Trump's entire thing.
He's not a big get in the mud kind of guy.
He's not
more
good
of
at that.
Yeah, like I think he's probably like a good politician, but I don't know that that'll necessarily win you the election.
No, once you get it, like I think Shapiro put it best. It's like once you get into the major leagues, being a good politician isn't good enough. You can't be good. You got to be the best.
Right.
And the only other dangerous one I think maybe as like a dark horse could be Yang, but I have a hard time imagining Yang as leadership. I would honestly rather see him as a VP. I would much rather see him more in a advisory role because I think he would do very well there. But I'm trying to imagine Yang actually duking it out with Trump, and it's going to sound like a scientist kind of stuttering over, a frat boy. It's going to look like the nerd getting bullied.
Well, he might be correct, but Trump will, I don't know, be more popular.
Well, yeah, it's literally going to be the nerd getting bullied by the jock on stage. That's what it's going to be. So, I mean, as dumb as that sounds, like those same high school fucking interactions kind of apply on the presidential stage. It really does, as we saw in the last presidential elections, when Trump literally knocked out the entire Republican field doing that.
Well, yeah, and I think the Republican Party just wanted somebody who wasn't going to essentially apologize for existing.
Right.
And so, well, because the Republican candidates have been called racist and Nazis and all sorts of things. They did it to George Bush. They did it to Mitt Romney when he was running. They did to what's his name? The guy that passed away recently, who was in Congress. Can't remember his name. It's driving me nuts. I can't think of him. But they did it to all the candidates, and essentially, the Republicans kind of got fed up with it, and they're like, "We need somebody who they are going to call all these names, and then essentially
just throw both middle fingers in the air." Yeah,
right. Like it's like, okay, yeah, you can call me that. I know it's not true, so fuck off. Like, and I don't think they're necessarily true about Trump, but he is very crass.
Yeah,
that's putting it nicely. He does say a lot of things, and I think he does say it on purpose to get attention, because that's just kind of who Trump is. But he also, like, with that, you kind of get the whole, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, call me whatever you want. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing and whatever. It's just part of the game. Like, he can take it, man. Like, he can take the abuse. If anything, like, his presidency has proven is Donald Trump can take the abuse.
Yeah.
Some of it's deserved. Like, he's done stupid things and deserved to be called out on them. Though I hate that term.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate call out. Call out so stupid. It's just complaining. It's just complaining. Anyway, he can take the abuse. I don't see Yang hanging in there.
Well, I don't see him. The problem with Yang isn't that he wouldn't make the right points. Is that I don't see him actually engaging with Trump. Whereas like Williamson could brush him off, and Gabbard could just punch him right back in the face. Yang would just kind of ignore him, and that's just the wrong way to handle Trump. Because I think Yang would handle him in a very similar way that Biden would. A bit more of like a, yeah, you can calm down now. Let's talk about the issues, which is fine with most politicians, but it just doesn't work on Trump.
Yeah, Trump is different.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily really like any of the people on this list. There's people that I like less than some others.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think, like, I know Yang and Gabbard are super popular online and in kind of like some of the circles that I'm in that aren't Republican circles.
Yang and Gabbard.
But I just don't think they have enough to win the nomination.
I don't think, unfortunately, well, it's a kind of an interesting situation where I think Gabbard might actually have enough to win the nomination if she. Okay, well, hold on. Before we get to Gabbard, let's just cover Yang real quick. So he didn't really have any standout moments unless you had something to bring up.
No,
and that's kind of his main problem
the whole
right now.
Second one, so
yeah,
he's just not interesting enough, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. He is interesting enough. He just needs to like get it out there.
Well, yeah, he needs to interest the media, the right people, and he doesn't. The media want something they can put on the front page. Like Yang, like if you listen to Yang, like he has some interesting ideas, even though I disagree with probably half of them or more. He has thought them through.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Like somebody actually having thought it through. Where like somebody like Sanders and Warren, they'll say Medicare for all, and then
it's like,
okay, how do you pay for that? And he's like, tax the rich, of course. And everyone knows that that's not quite going to be enough to get you there.
Well, yeah, you can't just tax the rich because then the rich are going to throw a big middle finger in your face, and then the taxes are going to stay. And the people that were supposed to pay them didn't stay, so the people that are now the new rich are the ones that get to pay, aka the middle class.
The middle class, and then they're
going to fall onto them. Like, so yeah,
they'll pay more in taxes, but their premiums will be less. Well, like, what if you don't go to the doctor?
Yeah,
like then you just pay more taxes.
Yeah,
because I don't go to the doctor. I have insurance, and I barely ever use it. I'm glad I have it, but I hardly ever use it. I don't go to the doctor unless I don't feel good.
Yeah, it's effectively a healthy tax. If you're healthy, this is bad for you. His plan is bad for you if you're healthy, which is really strange.
We need to tax the healthy to pay for the unhealthy.
Which I mean, it makes a certain amount of sense, but it's just like you can't just redistribute everything so it's even. It's like if you're healthy, you need to be supporting the unhealthy so that they can get healthy. It's like they're never going to be healthy. For the most part, a lot of these people are never going to be healthy. I don't know. Anyway.
Right, yeah. So
Anyway. Let's talk about Gabbard for a second.
Okay. Give me your pitch on Gabbard.
Okay. First of all, Gabbard is bae.
Okay.
She is
have her.
Absolutely. Anyway. And she absolutely fucking eviscerated Harris' asshole. So...
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Like, I'm just saying, like, even if you're not a huge fan of Gabbard's policies, there's a few things you got to admit. A, she is military trained, so she is disciplined. She would actually make a half-decent actual commander-in-chief, not just a figurehead that sometimes... talks to the military like someone that actually understands the military. That's kind of nice. She's apparently not afraid to fucking just throw out all the dirty laundry and just be like, Harris, you're one of the worst people on this stage. Like, what? Seriously, one of the worst people on this stage out of everybody. Fucking locking people up for pot, then using them for cheap labor, then refusing to let them go even after their sentences were up, and trying to hold a man in death row even though you knew he was innocent. Harris, you are a terrible person. Thank you. Fucking, oh my god. That was excellent.
Punched her so hard. It was great. Like,
dude, Harris's teeth were on the floor. Like,
she must be reading, like, right-wing blogs or something. And that was funny too during the debate, like how much that came up. It's, oh, those are right-wing talking points.
If they're true, who fucking cares?
That's just the truth. Like,
if they're true, who fucking cares where they came from? If they're true, and they are in Harris's case,
right?
Like, I'm sorry that the truth is offensive and conservative, but like, I don't know what to tell you.
The truth is a right-wing talking point now.
Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Like, she's right. She's pointing out that Harris is a horrible person. A fucking terrible person. Who should not be anywhere near the reins of power. Absolutely not. So that I absolutely loved. I'm not a huge fan of all of Gabbard's policies. But I'm kind of looking at this and going, holy shit, a progressive that I might actually be able to vote for. Oh my god.
Isn't she, like... She used to be pro-Second Amendment, now she's not so much.
She's military. She's pro-Second Amendment. Let's be real.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much of that is she changed just for the election, or...
I have a very hard time believing that someone that's running on her military cred is actually anti-Second Amendment. I think that's one of those things where... Because I'm also looking at some of the other things she said from the first debate, where she also raised her hand for giving illegals free healthcare, and then we come to this one, and when they're asking about how about education for illegals, and that one she wasn't down for, so I'm like... I can't help but wonder if she's like tacking a little bit to the left because she knows that's the only way to win.
Well, yeah, I think I wonder, because some of the moderates, I think that's kind of what Buttigieg is doing, is he's trying to get a feel for what the base wants, and with media and like the crowds that go to these sort of things, they are the far progressive, crazy people.
Yes,
they're not the average voter. Not the average Democrat voter, but they
are the most engaged.
Right. So, they're the ones that are going to vote in a primary for sure. And so I wonder how much of this is, because you used to be able to get away with this before social media, is you could say crazy shit in the primary, and then when you get to the general, you can dial it back.
Well, yeah, that's something that the progressives have been annoyed by on the Democratic side for decades. Where it's basically where the Democratic Party would say whatever the fuck they wanted, and then immediately as soon as the general came around, oh, I'm a centrist. What are you talking about? I'm a centrist. I'm a reasonable person. I'm a human just like you. I am human.
That's the political game, though. You know, you gotta go a little bit further to get all these people on your side, and then they pick you to represent them, and then you gotta win over a larger group of people, so you got to be a little more moderate in your... So it just makes it hard. I mean, that's why politicians get this reputation of all being liars.
Well, this is
kind of are.
This is kind of why, if there was any combo that I would want on this stage, I want Gabbard for president, I want Yang for vice president. I kind of like the idea of Yang being like the idea guy in the background, whispering in Gabbard's ear, keeping her reasonable, so that she's not going off with, like, we need to give black people thousands of dollars in reparations. No, hold on. Nope. Yang, stop her, please.
Rein her in, Yang. Please. Well, and I wonder how many of these people, too, they know that running for president is just good publicity, and they're shooting for cabinet positions or VP nominations.
It's also possible that some of these people are in this clown car because they're actually shooting for 2024. Like, it's one thing to
true.
It's one thing to lose in the primary because that doesn't hurt you too bad. It's another thing because whoever wins this nomination, if they then lose to Trump, then they can't run again. They're fucked because now they're a loser.
Yeah. Especially with such a large primary, it's like you lose, but so did 30 other people.
Right. So it's not exactly right. It's not shameful to lose in the primary. But if you like actively go up against Trump and you just get your face stomped in, then everybody's like, I don't know if then your electability starts becoming a real question as opposed to like a hypothetical,
I just wonder, like with Gabbard, I just wonder how much does the average voter really know about her?
I think that wouldn't necessarily be a problem come general, or are you talking about primary?
Both.
So in the general, I mean, I don't think that's name recognition in the general seems less important.
Well,
because they'll get name recognition.
It'll come, right? Like she'll get a bunch of attention if she's the nominee.
Right.
Whoever the nominee is will get a ton of attention. But that would just be that much further she would have to go additionally.
Well, sure, but once you get to the general, I think that's when candidates can actually start speaking their minds a little bit more. As opposed to here, where they're like, would you like to give illegals health insurance? Why, yes. All of the moderates on the stage? Yes, we would. Yes, this seems like a great idea and totally not economically ridiculous.
I'll say yes if you vote for me.
Exactly. I don't think half the people up there would actually do that. I really don't think they would.
And the president doesn't necessarily the office of the presidency doesn't have the authority just to do that.
It's an empty promise anyway.
But
like you're pointing out, so yeah.
Even like the office of the presidency doesn't have the authority to do something like that, but the office of the presidency does kind of have the ability to set the conversation.
True.
They don't even have necessarily the legal authority to set the agenda because Congress has that.
Yeah.
They decide, they hold the purse. But the president does have a significant amount of power.
True. But, I mean, in the general, you're right about all those things. So it's like I said, it's an empty promise. I don't think it would go much of anywhere. But
yeah, but for name recognition, it's just, I don't think it would hurt Gabbard more I think it hurts her more in the primary than it would in the general, but I do think it would hurt her in the general because she'd have to spend valuable time gaining that name recognition, even if it happens faster. Whereas somebody like Bernie Sanders already has it. And so even if it took like a week, like still like every minute in a campaign is valuable.
That's true. But I also think that she would kind of naturally acquire that. Because like I said, someone like Gabbard would actually go toe-to-toe with Trump, I think. When it comes to debates, like if she starts firing off on Twitter, I don't know, Lazy Eye Gabbard, whatever his nickname is. I don't think she actually has a lazy eye. I'm coming up with something. But whatever nickname he decides to give her, that she would punch back. Like as far as I can tell, it seems like she's fine with doing that. So that kind of thing would get her name recognition, and then you would have the news talking about it, and you'd have people talking about it. Oh, we've got the first potential female president, which would get her attention just on that. First potential female president is counterpunching against Trump. They're in like this Twitter war. It's so fucking epic, and she's owning him, or whatever's happening. She would get attention, I think.
It would also depend on how she would respond, because there's also like how you get the attention. Like if she gets the attention by punching Trump in the wrong way, I think she will lose some moderates. Because if you just go full scale progressive, like you see some of the verified check marks on Twitter going against Trump that get kind of passed around.
Do you think she's the type though? Because she doesn't seem like the type of progressive that does that.
I don't think she personally is the type, but it's not just like she's going to listen to, who are those guys that give you advice? Consultants.
Yeah. Okay.
She's going to listen to the consultants, and they'll probably tell her like, this is what you need to do to win.
I mean, true, but she's already veering away from, like, if any consultant basically, if you want to know what the consultants are saying, listen to what Joe Biden is saying. That's what the consultants are saying. So, or Warren, one of the two. Whichever, if we're talking about the moderates, that's what Biden is saying. If we're talking about the progressives, that's what Warren is saying. So if she was following what they were saying to the T, I don't think she would be where she is right now, which is...
Well, she's listening to her consultants. So.
I mean, that's true. But they seem to be giving her good advice so far.
Well, yeah, like they told her, you need to get your name out there So punch one of these front runners and
smack the absolute shit out of Harris.
She fucking did it, you know? But like, I mean, Trump does that masterfully. Like, it's like watching an artist work.
Well, you know what? I think I want to make a prediction because this is more for the primary. Because I honestly don't think the general, it would be very hard for her to get attention at all. The primary, I think, is where the real attention game is going to come into play because in the general, it's her versus Trump, and she's the first female president that will get her attention. In the primary, now we're talking about a wide field. So she has to figure out how to like snapshot that attention. So far, she's doing it by attacking Harris. But I think if my estimations of how Harris tends to respond to these things are anywhere near accurate, I think Harris is going to start going after Gabbard, whether it's on the debate stage or in like some other underhanded ways. Because you've already seen that they're coming out talking about Gabbard as an Assad toady. She's right wing. She's conservative. She's a plant. She's a Russian bot. She's a Russian plant. Like all of these things.
Right. Did you see this? What is that thing called? The political compass test that's been going around on social media where they have all the candidates.
One?
Yeah, and everybody's like,
everyone's right wing
authoritarian.
it's like all right, Sweden. Like maybe we should use an American estimation of what right and left is, please.
Right, and so
I'm sorry, Yang is deep conservative, is what we're saying. Yang is deep right wing, really. Mr. I want fucking UBI and universal health care for everyone. That guy. Really? Okay. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Why not?
Like, I wish I could find it again. But
I saw it on Facebook. It's fucking stupid.
Biden's basically Hitler and like...
Well, they put it... No, it's not even Biden that's Hitler. It's Trump. Trump is almost... Like, if you look at the scale, if we're using the American estimation... If that's what that's supposed to be, that would put him almost identically authoritarian to Hitler. And I'm like, okay, look, if you want to say he's a little authoritarian, all right, I don't necessarily think he's on the libertarian side of things, but I also don't think he's like Hitler. I don't think he's literally Hitler, you know?
Literally, he is literally Hitler. Like he's worse than Hitler. He's like mega Hitler.
They're putting him in there like he's fucking Stalin or Mussolini, and I'm like, guys, can we not just be fucking retarded? I would, because I've seen other like graphs of, you know, left right where the different candidates stand versus Trump and all these other candidates that, you know, I looked at it and was like, okay, this makes sense. And then I look at this and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Get this out of my face.
Yeah, it's a crazy meme.
I've actually found it.
Oh.
Hold on. Let me see if I can get a clipped out image to post. Hold on.
Yeah, I just saw it on Facebook, so I'm like, oh, let's see if I can find it again. But
yep, I got to post it up.
Never find anything on Facebook.
I actually made a comment talking about that same thing where I'm just like, why are we using European standards for this? But yeah, I wonder where is... Okay, so Gabbard's on the left, right next to Sanders. What the...
Yep, she's a crazy socialist.
What?
Well, they got like Hawkins.
Can I just point out that Williamson is like right wing? Really?
Yeah, she's right wing libertarian.
Really?
She's about... Every time I take the political compass test, I'm about right where she is.
Dude, take Williamson and stick her as far into the corner of left libertarian that you can find. Seriously.
Well, maybe not in the far... I don't think she's
libertarian. She is the fucking
either.
No, she's the fucking commune hippie. That's what she is. She's one of the commune hippies that's like free love, crystals, chakras, just love your neighbor and share. Come on, man. Like, and don't get me wrong, I have nothing against that, but like, that is not right wing. That is not. There is no aspect of what she's pushing that is right wing. This is stupid as fuck.
Well, and they got who is this? Weld? Is that a libertarian guy? The guy that ran with the libertarian candidate last time?
Trying to remember who Weld is.
And then they got
Kasich does not belong in the authoritarian right at all. Pence might. I can actually Pence doesn't deserve to be fucking full right-wing authoritarian, but I could put him up
there. Yeah, he's probably center right wing, in the blues. He's probably closer to where Klobuchar is. Yeah. Maybe a little further right than that, but
yeah. All I know is this whole chart is dumb.
Yeah, it's apparently everybody's a super right wing.
Seriously, who made this? I genuinely want to know where this came from and whether or not it's Sweden. Because if it's not Sweden, I don't understand. Because this doesn't even make sense from UK politics. UK politics wouldn't put all these people this far right.
It came from Antifa.
Everyone's a Nazi. That is the right of me. I'm pretty sure the only... Yeah. I don't... how did Williamson end up on the right wing? I genuinely want to know what in the world they're looking at that put Williamson right wing. That blows my mind.
I don't know. I have no idea how she's right wing. She wants reparations and...
Yeah, she's all the way left libertarian. Pure emotion. That's all Williamson is. And don't get me wrong, I love her. She seems like a very nice lady, but
if she were giving a talk, I might consider going.
Yeah.
Depends on if I have anything else to do. But I did think she's interesting to listen to. I do think also some of the stuff that she does is batshit crazy.
Well, I mean, look, just because she's a little batshit crazy doesn't mean she's not a nice lady.
You need to apologize. I don't need all the white people to go to the black people and apologize to them. It's well, no, I'm not doing that.
And we're all gonna hug it out.
Bad things happened to black people in the past. That's bad. But I didn't do anything, so I'm not apologizing for shit.
Pretty much. And the fact Yang being it's not even, if they had at least put Yang and Williamson around the same level of right wing, okay, wrong, but at least not as bad as putting him almost as right wing as fucking Trump and more right wing than Klobuchar.
Well,
what?
Bill de Blasio is slightly
more right wing than Biden. What crack are you people smoking?
And Elizabeth Warren is practically center.
Dude,
Elizabeth Warren is the center. If Elizabeth Warren is the center of your political compass, your compass done be broken, man.
Yeah, seriously.
Magnets are screwed up.
I don't even know what to make of that because I don't know what they're looking at. Are they looking at Warren from the debates or are they looking at Warren from a year ago? Because those are two different fucking politicians. So
right.
I don't know. This whole chart is dumb.
Yeah, it's hilarious. Just
oh my god, it annoys me. It annoys me. How do you get this so wrong? How? Anyway.
Well, I honestly think, I don't think it came from Antifa literally, but I honestly think it's somebody with that sort of similar worldview where any sort of government is right wing and bad and authoritarian, and
Dad's telling me what to do, rebel.
Right, yeah, it's just, I don't know, because there's nobody in the authoritarian left. It's because they don't believe that you can be left and authoritarian.
True.
Probably. Because see how it goes? It goes from the top right down to the bottom left. I'm sure the people that they like the most, Hawkins, Gabbard, Sanders, they're over here on the bottom left, libertarian left. It's Sanders is not libertarian left. He wants to take away your private health care. That is the least libertarian thing you could do.
I don't think Sanders would actually be too far into the authoritarian left. I think he would be basically in the fourth part, near the closer to the bottom of the upper left.
I don't think he's not Stalin.
No, he's not. But I'm looking for, where is Harris? I'm having trouble finding her. Aha, here she. Okay. If there's any person on this entire chart that deserves to be specifically authoritarian left, it's Harris.
Right.
Like, she is the
But she's
embodiment
like
of authoritarian left.
middle authoritarian right.
Yeah, it's so
she's where
weird.
I'd put Pence.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Maybe even Trump would be there too.
No, I think that like everyone makes a bunch of noise about Trump, but it like honestly, I think Trump is almost centrist. I would put him I would still put him in the right wing side, but I wouldn't put him that far away from the left.
Well, I think he doesn't have I don't think he would stay put. It just kind of depends on who he's talking to at the time and how he feels.
It's true. I like how they put. Remember how I was talking about earlier about Castro and Buttigieg basically being the same person? Look at where they are on the map.
Yeah. You were right. They are the same person.
Even these idiots understand my genius. Even these idiots understand my genius.
Not enough dots. We'll just put these two together.
Well, it seems like they gridded the dots, so that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. All right. I think we've
exhausted this.
Yeah, we've exhausted these guys. Well, we just got to wait and see who. Those of you who are listening that are Democrats, like, good luck picking
Gabbard.
Look, if you pick Gabbard, I've said this before. If you pick Gabbard or Yang, or maybe even Biden, I'm not going to be too upset. And if they beat Trump, I'm not going to be like
lighting your hair on fire.
Literally Hitler. Well, I'm bald, so light my beard on fire.
You're not going to light your dogs on fire?
Yeah, I'm not going to think the country's going to end in 10 years. I don't think it'll be things I don't like, but I don't think those people dislike America.
Well, I honestly think that Gabbard could at least make the pitch to the American people that she actually probably could be a good unifying president. Because she's the kind of Democrat that most Republicans probably wouldn't really be on board for actively obstructing, I think. But who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Politics is weird.
Yeah. All right. President Trump defends his attacks against Cummings. Sharpton and Baltimore claims he's the least racist person.
I know. This is the greatest thing that Trump does is like he gets called a name and he's like, actually, I'm probably the least of that. But this guy, this jerk over here, he's the real racist.
Exactly. Fucking, it sounds like discount Godfather shit.
He's just a character, man. He's a cut up.
See, President Donald Trump defended his ongoing attacks against Maryland Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings, the city of Baltimore, and New York Reverend Al Sharpton, because Al Sharpton deserves to be called out by everyone, on Tuesday in claiming that he considers himself the least racist person in the world. Okay? Before departing the White House, the president fielded his first questions from the press about his attacks on Cummings and accusations from opponents that he is a racist. No.
Right, this all started out because Trump tweeted out that Baltimore was rat infested and that Cummings, like Ben Shapiro nails this. He just said that Trump doesn't like what Cummings is doing, and so he is attacking him. He's punching him back, and he's doing that by calling his district terrible and awful, which he does frequently. But then the media just makes it even. This is why people don't trust the media, is because they want a headline, and this might be enough for some people to believe that it makes Trump racist for tweeting or saying this.
Well,
and so
politically, this is like
they will publish it that way.
This is like the political equivalent of calling someone a doo-doo head. So
yeah, exactly.
I understand why we're talking about this, because literally anything he says is going to get called racist. So it makes sense that this is happening, but, well, I mean, relatively. fucking relatively makes sense. But I'm just looking at this like, why? Why? Are you guys actively trying to look stupid?
Well, with the whole like go back to where you came from thing, like that you could look at that and go, okay, yeah, I can see how that could be a little racist or seen as racist. If it wasn't absolutely racist, it could be perceived that way for sure. Like even I'm a guy who wore a MAGA hat for a month straight, can see that, and I didn't like it, and I don't think he should do that. Like CNN even ran the headline on his last rally that said, "Nobody chants send her back at the rally yet." That was one of their headlines.
Fucking hell.
It's like, what the heck are you doing? But like this comment, it's true. Like Baltimore isn't the nicest place.
Well, no. I'm trying to, like, even if you just break it down on the merits, it's like, okay, Baltimore's rat infested. You're racist. He didn't say it was infested with black people. He said it was infested with rats.
Well,
like physical, the rodent, not like some metaphorical rat, not some fucking 4-dimensional rat, fucking just a rat.
Well, this is to the media, progressives, and whatever. This is what is known as a dog whistle, and so they think that this is him winking at his racist base that he needs. He's tapping into that dark psychic force that's in our country.
It's not even. It's not even like, okay, look. If he, at least, I don't know, he came out and was like, "Oh, Baltimore's gorilla infested." Like, at least there's like a stereotype there. Like, at least then we're talking about like, okay, this is like a racist trope that's been around for a while.
Super racist, but I just got like an image of gorillas like
rampaging
King Kong style, jumping around on buildings and
just
stuff.
rampaging through Baltimore, like just a whole army of silverbacks, and all the people running away screaming. The rats too. The rats are also running away screaming.
Right. Well, I saw there was automatically a meme that came out and it showed like 4 rats like hanging out, and they said Trump just said that Baltimore's Democrat infested, and they said ew.
Fuck that. Like, we're leaving Baltimore now.
Well, what does it say about people in the media and progressives when they hear the word infested? They immediately think of black people.
It's true.
Like, you have to ask. Well, I guess you don't have to ask that question, but I'm asking that question.
The tenuous connection they're trying to make is that whenever he uses the word infested, it always seems to be related to either black people or a black area, a predominantly black area. And it's like, has it occurred to anybody this might just be a coincidence? It's not like he uses the word infested every 20 minutes, you know?
Well, and it's not even true. Like he used the word about white politicians in white cities too. Like he used it against Bernie Sanders. That was like where he was from is crime infested, and he's used it against, I think, Elizabeth Warren, and her district in LA is drug infested.
I did mention it was a tenuous connection, but yeah.
Yeah, it's tenuous. But I'm asking the question, like, what does it say about the people who see someone saying this place is rat infested and then making the jump to infested means he's talking about black people?
It is strange.
Because when I hear infested, even like crime infested or rat infested or just infested, I don't think of any person. Like I just think of, well, like crime infested. I think of drug addicts when I hear crime infested, maybe homelessness. And then I like rat infested, I think of fucking rats.
Well, it's kind of interesting that I mean, at least the rat infestation, I almost just kind of want to leave out of it because that's such a it seems like they're really reaching on that one. But when you say crime infested, and your first assumption is he clearly means black people, there's like white areas that are crime infested too, right, guys? Like,
yeah,
because that's not
just
him
look at
saying
Portland.
it's not them. It's not him saying that it's all these black people just bringing crime everywhere. Yeah, it's like no, it's him talking about an area that's got crime problems, and if it happens to be a black area, okay. But
well, it just a lot of big cities have black people live there. I mean, a lot of people live in big cities. But
yeah,
I tend to feel like there are more black people that live in bigger cities.
well, it's more
I'm
like
not
as
saying
far as I
all
can
black
tell.
people, but
As far as I can tell, it seems like the majority of the black population is congregated in cities, but it's not like there's a. I can't think of very many of the really huge cities that have really any population that's like small. You know,
right.
you go to
They always
any
have.
you go to any big city, you're gonna
They're
have Indian
diverse.
areas and Asian areas and black areas.
Yeah,
And,
you're gonna have Chinatown and
yeah,
whatnot.
not
You
in all the
know,
big
it's
cities, but like even if there's not a Chinatown, there's an area where like that's where a lot of Asians are, or whatever race.
right. Like people bring their families
Hmm,
over or
of
like
course.
cousins, and they like want to live near each other because it's more comfortable for them. And
Uh-huh.
then yeah, like it's just people sort themselves like that, and that to me that's fine. Like I don't have a problem with something like that happening. I don't see now if you're doing it because you don't like people with different skin colors, that's a problem to me.
Oh yeah, I don't like
But
it,
as long
but
as you're not like hurting somebody, as long as you're not going out and attacking them because or making them leave because they have a different skin color or doing anything like that, like if you're just thinking it, I could give a shit. But
yeah, just keep it
if
to yourself. Your opinions are your opinions. Your actions are everyone's
right,
problem.
and it's definitely more comfortable if you're around people who also speak your language
Hmm.
too, because I think that not necessarily with black people, but I think with like Chinese immigrants or Hispanic immigrants, that being able to talk to somebody in your own language is just easier and more comfortable,
Hmm.
even if they do know English, which I would encourage everybody to learn English if you don't know it, which I don't know why you'd be listening to this if you didn't. But
It would be an interesting situation where you just have like some Chinese kid listening just with rapt attention. Wow.
oh, learn English.
I never thought about that. I'm not sure how I understood that, but
Yeah, right. It was a weird point. But you feel more comfortable, and I would prefer people to learn English, I guess was what I was getting at.
oh, for their own
Just because
sake.
I think well, yeah, it's not because I'm like you got to learn English or get out. It's I think you'll have an easier time
Yeah.
of it in the United States if you learn English. You like even if you learn English and Spanish. Like the people in the Hispanic community that I know that do well for themselves know both English and Spanish.
Yeah.
And so it's not saying you can't do well, it's just easier. And why make your life harder by refusing to do something? Now, if you honestly can't learn a second language, like I have a hard time doing that, sure, like do the best you can.
I mean, even if you have a hard time with it, if you've been living in a place long enough, you eventually should pick it up, just naturally, if you're actually trying.
Well, yeah. Well, on this whole thing with this tweet wasn't racist, and then
No.
Al Sharpton, uh, we need a good nickname for Al Sharpton. Race bait and Al Sharpton.
Who the fuck cares about what he's doing, Al Sharpton?
Right. Why is he still around?
Al Sharpton, yeah.
he tries to take advantage of this, and he went to Baltimore and he called Trump a racist, which, you know, oh
Wow.
my God.
Revolutionary.
I've never heard somebody say that before.
I don't think he's going to recover. I think it's time for President Trump to just, forget impeachment. Just go ahead and quit. Someone's called you a racist.
Yep.
It's
Al
over.
Sharpton's called you a racist. It's game over, man.
When Al Sharpton's when Al Sharpton is looking at your actions and being like, "Damn, that's racist." You've got a problem.
Well, and I'm not saying like, because I don't believe this to be true about any politician. I'm not saying that Trump loves people in the inner city or necessarily has this deep love for helping out like specific communities.
Yeah.
I think he likes to accomplish things. I think he likes to get shit done. And this is a thing that he wants to get done, to say that he did it. Like, he likes to have I guess the glory or whatever. I don't know how to say it. Like,
he likes the credit.
Yeah, he likes to get the credit. He likes to do it. And he likes the attention, and I mean, I get it. Like, that's cool, but I think if you come to him with a problem and he's like, "Oh yeah, we can do that," like, he'll do it. And so he sees a problem, he wants to fix it. And he might not be the best at fixing it. He might not be fixing it the way I think it should be fixed or you think it should be fixed, but he's going to try to fix it. He might be bad at it, but at least he'll try, you know?
True.
All right. You ready to move on to the next one?
I think that there's not a whole lot left to say about Trump being called racist. As entertaining as it is, there's not a whole lot really there. I mean, what do you even say at this point? It's like, someone called Trump racist. Okay, it's a day that ends in Y. What else is
that's new? Still a headline.
This is somehow still news. Anyway, INF nuclear treaty. U.S. pulls out of Cold War era pact with Russia. Cold War II electric boogaloo. Sorry.
Right. This is. I feel like we're living in rerun. This will be the era of reruns.
In case anyone was wondering whether or not Trump was a Russian stooge, no.
Yeah, I guess not.
Something tells me a Russian
Putin
stooge
wanted this.
Yeah, something tells me that Putin's butt boy wouldn't be doing this. So I'm just saying.
Right, if he were a Russian stooge, Russia would just violate the treaty and the U.S. would just comply with it.
Right, they'd just be like, well, I guess, they're Russian, they have their own autonomy and we need to respect that. And, oh no, we're getting blown up.
Right, they would say something like, I don't like that. Here's my red line, and then back off from it.
Obama.
Yeah, I'm not mentioning any other previous administration.
Hard red lines that might not be as hard as they appear in the mirror.
Right, that red line needed some Viagra.
Yeah, seriously. Maybe I think the painter just didn't have enough paint, so he's like, "What if I just draw dashes instead? That's good enough, right?"
Yeah. Budget cuts. Didn't have enough paint. It's that sequestration, man. Anyway,
the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, otherwise known as INF, was signed by U.S. President Ronald Reagan and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev in 1987. They banned missiles with ranges between. None of us understand what this means. Let's be honest. But earlier this year, the U.S.
310 and 3,400 miles.
I mean, sure, but like, do you have a conception of how far it takes for a missile to make that range? Because I don't.
Yeah, there's like a map further down, I think.
Is there?
Kind of shows that.
Fine, I'll read off the freaking ranges. It banned missiles with ranges between 310 and 3,400 miles. Yeah, I mean, earlier this year, the U.S. and NATO accused Russia of violating the pact by deploying a new type of cruise missile, which Moscow has denied, surprisingly. I can't believe they denied it. The Americans said they had evidence that Russia had deployed a number of 9M729 missiles, known to NATO as the who the fuck makes these names, This accusation was then put to Washington's NATO allies, which
Some
all
nerd.
Seriously, which all backed the U.S. claim. Russia is
Can't they come up with like cool names for these missiles, like Tomahawk missile, which would be racist, but I don't know. The Legion missile, the Roman Legion missile, something like that. Centurion missile. I don't know. Just a couple off the top of my head, a couple names right there.
Fucking go maybe mix in some world history, get like the horns of the Zulu, and just have like it be a cluster bomb.
Yeah. Zulu missiles. That'd be badass. That does sound actually pretty bad.
I'm just saying, if you saw a cluster bomb that you knew was called the Horns of the Zulu, you'd be like, oh, fuck.
Right.
Let's see. Russia is solely responsible for the treaty's demise, Pompeo said, and of course, with the full support of our NATO allies, the United States has determined Russia to be in material breach of the treaty and has subsequently suspended our obligations under the treaty. Russia's foreign ministry has confirmed the INF treaty was formally dead in a statement carried by state-run RIA Novosti news agency.
Right, like Russia BBC. See, this kind of surprised me that they had the full support of all the NATO allies. So, I mean, so much for Trump being a Russian stooge and alienating all of our allies. Like, they all agree on this.
Yeah, seriously.
So that, to me, that means it's most likely true.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it actually, the reason for that is pretty obvious. In a later paragraph, last month he told the BBC that the NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg told the BBC that the Russian missiles were nuclear capable, mobile, very hard to detect, and could reach European cities within minutes. So I can see some pretty good reasons for them to be like, Russia, we're going to need you to stop that.
Yeah, could you please
pretty please stop being a dick.
Yeah, and then the U.S. backed out, but I mean, this is also kind of something that Trump does too, is he likes to back out of these deals or get out of these deals so that he can make a new one that's more or less the same, but with his name on it.
Well, yeah, but I will give him some credit because reaffirming these deals and telling them to their face, it's like, no, we're not letting you just do whatever you want. Because some of this I feel like is posturing on both sides, where they kind of want to see what the other side's going to do.
Yeah. Are we going to have another Cuban Missile Crisis sort of thing?
Maybe. But he said, President Donald Trump set a 2nd August deadline for the U.S. to withdraw if Russia didn't come into compliance. Putin suspended his country's own obligations to the treaty shortly afterwards. Uh-huh. Suspended shortly afterwards. I think you mean before, but all right.
Well, like, he officially...
Right, I get it, but yeah. He added, NATO does not want a new arms race and confirmed there were no plans for the alliance to deploy land-based nuclear missiles of its own in Europe. Well, I don't know what to tell you guys, because they seem to be pretty dead set on a new arms race.
Right, it's not a good thing, in my opinion.
I would much prefer if we didn't have everyone nuking each other. That'd be great. See, this is serious. The INF Treaty has been a cornerstone in arms control for decades, and now we see the demise of the treaty. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Warned that an invaluable break on nuclear war is being lost. Yep. And we are all fucked. This will likely heighten, not reduce, the threat posed by ballistic missiles, urging all parties to seek agreement on a new common path for international arms control, which I would be very much in favor of. Fear a new arms race. Interesting. The analysts fear the collapse of the historic agreement could lead to a new arms race between the U.S., Russia, and China. I kind of figured that Russia and China would be somewhat cooperative, but I suppose they would view each other as threats.
Yeah, they're like neighbors, you know. So you always want allies on the opposite side of your neighbor. Your neighbor is your friend.
Yeah.
So because they're far enough away not to cause you any problems, but they're close enough to help you out if shit goes down.
Right. We'll see now.
But Russia, I mean, China wants to be a major power, and I mean, China kind of is already.
Yeah, it is.
They're not to the level like the U.S. right now is top dog, in my opinion, because America. I think Russia is definitely coming back, and I do think China is coming up as well, and so we might see like it'll be weird because I'm sure you and I have both grown up in this world where the United States is supreme, but there has been points in time where the United States isn't the big superpower.
I don't believe
it. Not the big dick.
I don't believe it. It doesn't sound right.
Like Britain used to be a huge superpower. Like they were the strongest, most powerful empire on the planet at one point.
Well, yeah, now they're pussies, so no one cares.
Yeah, now they throw you in jail for saying mean things on Twitter.
Seriously. Like, oh my god, guys. If that's not the fucking state of the empire, nothing is.
Right. And so it'll be interesting to see. I don't want to see a world where the U.S. isn't as Sargon would put it, like the hegemon, like the world leader necessarily. Because I think while the U.S. isn't perfect, we're better than the alternatives. It's like who do you want to be kind of leading the world? You want the U.S. or Russia or China? It's like
I pick Russia.
Right.
I want Moscow in charge of everything. I want secret police. I think we should actually resurrect Stalin using dark magic and put him in charge.
Dark psychic forces that are
Donald
Trump is bringing up in our country.
Wield the dark psychic forces. We need Emperor Palpatine immediately to resurrect Stalin to rule the universe in a universe not so far away. In fact, right here.
Right here in America.
So that we can get more Rage Against the Machine albums. That's really what this is about. I need Rage Against the Machine to have a good reason to make more albums.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm getting sleepy.
You got to drink coffee, man. You got to drink coffee before the stream. That's what I do.
I'm drinking tea and honey.
Go back to Britain. Throw it in the harbor. Come on.
Man, I'm Texan. I get to drink whatever I want.
We don't drink tea around here.
Texans drink whatever they want.
Tea is fine as long as it's caffeinated.
Think Dirty Harry gives a shit about what you think about his tea? Doesn't.
Well, I mean, the treaty, like, hopefully they can figure it out. I don't think anybody really wants a nuclear arms race. I think, well, the people that make money, what is it, the military industrial complex, they'd probably be okay with it.
Yeah, because they're fucking psychotic.
Trump, like, if he were to try to play this off as a good thing, that it would be more like an economic boon for him. And so I don't think Trump is like a super isolationist, but I don't think he's really that interested in going to war.
No. I think Trump is one of those guys. It's like, war is potentially useful in certain situations, but it's not the first solution. It's not the second solution. It's like third from last.
Yeah, it's a solution. You need to have the threat there.
You have to be willing.
And you will use it. Yeah. It's just like you got to be willing to walk away from the negotiation if you're going to get screwed. So that gives you a little more leverage or a little more power, I guess.
If there's one genuine strength that you could point to Trump and say that is like one of his main things, is that he's very willing to keep his options open. he does not mind keeping the options available and on the table for any amount of time that he needs to, until one of them stands out and becomes useful.
Yeah. And so I hope it doesn't devolve into like an arms race. And I don't know where Trump would necessarily fall on that, but I don't think Trump is the ultimate decider of
No.
of this. I mean, he is the president. He does have say, but I think you got to kind of, if Russia is going to start building their military and doing some shady stuff, you got to go right along, man. You got to keep up. You can't just be like, well, we don't want to do that. And so,
well, yeah, not unless you want fucking Russia to be America too. Unless we're saying that Russia's going to be Neo-America and or Neo-Texas.
Russia is just basically Texas Junior because everything's Texas Junior. Everybody wants to be Texas.
You want to know how big Texas is going to be when we finish taking over the world? The entire state of Texas is going to be the capital of Texas. And the rest of Texas is just going to be, you know, nobody gives a shit about you, Texas.
Yeah.
That's right. Texas.
We're all going to move to Texas. We're going to bring all our socialist ideas with us.
Don't worry. You don't need to move.
It's going to be great.
We will come to you.
Yeah, I don't have much more to say. Did you
find the map? Now we're just Texas memeing. Let me look real quick.
Go down to the bottom. It has the map at the very bottom.
I don't like that. Yeah. Okay, so that's all of Europe, the Middle East, most of Asia. It doesn't really affect the United States, and more importantly, it doesn't affect Texas. So that's good.
Well, not if they're in Moscow, but if the missiles are somewhere else, like Russia's a big country, man.
I'm pretty sure Texas is always out of range. It's fine. Definitely covers most of Africa.
Not Oregon.
Well, I mean,
look, we're small enough that nobody knows who we are, so it's not really.
Honestly, if anyone's going to be a target, it actually might be Texas because we've got a bunch of military cities here. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
We have a lot of military shit here.
Trees.
I don't think they're going to nuke you. I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Unless they just really want to take out Antifa because they're just like, look, even we don't want to deal with those assholes. We're going to do you a favor.
Just give me heads up before. Well, like, what's the biggest city in Texas?
Houston.
And like, what's the population of Houston?
Houston is the 4th largest city in America.
Do you know like a rough number?
I can look it up.
Yeah, because I'm wondering if Oregon even has that many people in our state, much less.
What? I think there's a city that's actually called Texas City, and it has 45,000 people in it. Okay.
Nice. Sounds great.
Not quite what I was intending. Who the fuck names your... God damn it. Okay, look, I get that Houston, or that Texas is awesome. 2.3 million in Houston.
Okay, so that's like half the population of the entire state of Oregon. We have about like 4 million people, I think, that live here. Something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I'm looking at this. San Antonio has 1.4 million, or almost 1.5. Dallas is 1.3. Like we've got quite a bit. And if you count the greater Houston area, Houston actually encompasses way more than that.
Oregon's population as of 2018 is 4.191 million people. So, like, a couple of your cities is our entire state.
Yeah.
So I think Oregon's fine. I think California would be a bigger target than Oregon, but then we have all the people from California fleeing into Oregon or maybe Texas. So that would be a problem.
What if we convince Russia to like nuke the border of California, like just the border to trap them all in?
No.
Not you don't like
Don't
that idea?
damage my union.
Don't damage my union.
I'm taking the Republican stance on this that Abraham Lincoln had. You don't get you don't get out of the union, man. Don't mess with the union.
But if they nuke the border of California, they might knock off California into the ocean.
Yeah, don't break apart my union. Even kooky California.
Fine, I guess.
Give them a hard time. I just don't want to live there.
All right, fine, California. You don't die today.
Dude, like Idaho only has 1.7 million people that live in the entire state. So you have more people that live in Houston than in Idaho.
It looks like we almost have as many people in San Antonio as live in Idaho.
Hey. Idaho's not that far from me. I could move.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, holy shit, seriously. One fucking city in Texas is bigger than a lot of different states.
Yeah. Well, you've seen those maps that are like the also, people that live Austin in this tiny blue speck equal all the people that live in these different, like these 12 different states. This is why we need the Electoral College.
Austin doesn't even have 1 million. What the fuck, Austin? Come on, get your shit together. Can you believe Austin? Seriously.
That was all the stories I prepared, but there was one more that I saw recently. Did you see the one where...
So we're not just dunking on Austin having no population?
Yeah, fuck Austin.
All right, moving on.
What's the Antifa problem like in Austin? Bad?
No. I mean, it's still Texas.
Okay.
Like, yes, the people in Austin would get scared if you like pointed a vaguely sharp stick at them, but it's still Texas.
Didn't you see like the post that like Antifa's planning some border siege of some city in Texas, something like that?
That's going to be hilarious. And no, I haven't.
Okay, I need
a live stream of Antifa getting the absolute shit kicked out of them.
Did you see this one about this New Jersey man who was beat up for wearing a MAGA hat?
Yeah, I did. But like he got his fucking eye socket smashed.
His face just looks so bad, man.
This is one of the few times where like Tim was talking about it and I'm like, come on, man. Like I understand that he wants to wait for the evidence, but I really don't. Like, it's one thing to take a few licks, it's another thing to take a real ass beating for a hoax. You know?
Yeah, that's some dedication.
Like, I don't believe that he intentionally smashed his eye socket for attention and caused like permanent damage to his face. That just seems unlikely, you know? I don't know.
Well, sometimes I wonder if it just has nothing to do with the political stuff. Like he was doing, like some teenagers beat the shit out of him and roughed him up, and he's like, "Well, no one's gonna care." Like, but if I was wearing a MAGA hat and they did it, like, I could probably get some attention and some justice.
That's possible.
So they're using the Trump bump or the racist bump or whatever.
All right. Okay. That's more understandable. Maybe I just didn't think it from that angle. Okay.
Yeah. Like I'm not saying this guy is fake news because to me, this kind of seems more real than some of the other like hate crimes we've seen. Which they're not even calling this a hate crime, but
which is fascinating. But I'm willing to accept that. Yeah, okay, we do need to wait for more information, but currently I am leaning towards. I mean, how often have we seen this happen? Like,
right, this isn't new.
It's not like this would be news. Like, that's the real sad part, is some dude getting his eye socket smashed in because if he fucking supports Donald Trump isn't even news. It's every day. Like, this is normal in this country at this point.
Yeah, and
to a certain extent, not to everybody. I think if the normies like actually started looking at this and understood what was happening, I don't think they'd be okay with it. But until it starts getting proper exposure, there's just no way.
Yeah, I sent you a link to that one on Facebook, but
okay.
How do you feel about the Daily Caller?
I don't have any special feelings towards them either way.
Okay, I'm going to send you a link to this Daily Caller article that says that it says far left groups, but it's Antifa. They plan a siege on El Paso, Texas to push border resistance.
We're doing an extra long show tonight, guys. Hit like in the comment section below and share. Oh my god. What?
Like, share, and subscribe, guys.
Right. Why is it?
That's that like button.
Stop it. Stop assaulting everyone's ears. Okay. Fucking Fox News. Alright. You better like this video or I'm gonna smash your eye socket in. Okay, maybe not. Damn, they fucked this guy up.
Yeah, that guy got beat up pretty bad.
Jesus Christ, that's bad. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, damn.
Well, like I said, like, sometimes I wonder if these stories have a bit of truth. Like, this guy got beat up, and not necessarily this guy, but like somebody else got beat up or something bad happened to them, and they just used the political angle to get more attention to it.
Possible. But I'm just looking at this and I'm like, okay, so he's claiming that he was assaulted by nearly 24 people in New York because he was wearing a pro-Trump Make America Great Again hat. Is New Jersey that far left? Like, I wasn't aware.
Well, he was in New York.
Oh, sorry, I got it backwards.
He's from New Jersey.
Right. Well, New York, I mean, yeah, it's left, but it's not. Like, I have a hard time imagining. Who knows, man? People are nuts.
Well, like, a group of 18 to 20 people, you would think there would be plenty of witnesses to that. So, like, this is one of those things where my confirmation bias wants me just to believe it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, and this is true about, things like this on the other side too, when like someone says, oh, someone spray painted a swastika on my house.
Right.
It's like, yeah. Like a bunch of teens probably did that because they're just stupid teenagers and that's what they do. This isn't Trump's America, it's not that you're not that important.
Yeah.
Just gonna say that. But that would seem like 18 to 20 people just seems like a lot of people.
It does. Then again, the specificity of something so strange almost makes it seem more believable in a weird way.
Well, I don't know. Like maybe I was a nerdy kid, or I just didn't have a lot of friends. But I don't ever remember just hanging out with 18 to 20 people anywhere, other than like an organized event.
I was about to say, for all you know, they go to the same high school and they're like coming back from a band event.
They're all in youth group together.
Yeah, they're a bunch of band nerds and they beat him with flutes and saxophones.
Tubas.
They beat him with tubas. As entertaining as that image is, that's actually worse. I'm just imagining like a Family Guy skit where it's like a whole bunch of marching band nerds that are just like fucking doing like a pile driver with the tuba.
Well, like they said, a female flipped his hat while another a male pushed him from behind.
Hmm.
Like some of that stuff, like I've seen some of these crazy Trump derangement syndrome people do stuff like that before, though.
Yeah.
But the police are investigating reports of an assault. So it says reports plural. So I don't know if because if that many people were beating up a guy, somebody's calling the police.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's multiple people calling the police, I guess we'll see more as this story develops. But
yeah, there's not a whole lot to say just because there's so few details. But like, if this is as he's describing, this is bad. That's almost Andy Ngo level, maybe worse. Just because like. Well, no, Andy Ngo is still worse because neurological damage is no joke. But I mean, this guy, look at this guy's eye. Like, holy shit. Ugh.
Yeah, it looks pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm not even convinced he's seeing out of it. That's the disturbing part. So yeah, I don't know. That's fucked up.
Well, and the guy says he went that day to Trump Plaza to buy the hat. To put on his TV,
home, yeah.
Just to take it home. And he had no intention of wearing it in New York because I think it's dangerous to wear a hat like that in New York City. He said, and I'm not a hat guy.
Yeah.
Like, if this is all fake and everything, then this would be the right wing Jussie Smollett, you know?
Oh, dude, I'm loving this. I mean, yes, you're right, but I'm reading like the next, like the Daily Caller article where it's like far left group plans siege on El Paso, and I'm just like, oh my god, please do it, please do it. El Paso police will eat you idiots alive.
So yeah, let's get into that real quick, and then we can finish up.
Okay, I want this. Please do it. There's a correction. Hold on, there's a correction that we need to give some context. While various Antifa-related groups have promoted and encouraged this event, there is insufficient evidence to say Antifa is planning the event. Aww. That language has been removed and clarified. Lame.
Right, like they're using Antifa symbols and like Antifa's involved. Come on, like it's just because Antifa's not like a hierarchical. Well, I mean, every group of people has some sort of hierarchy. It's just they don't recognize it.
That's like saying terrorist cells aren't organized. Like just because there's not like a necessarily command structure doesn't mean you're not a group.
Right.
A far left movement is reportedly planning a siege of El Paso, Texas. Please do it. In an attempt to raise awareness of alleged abuses at the U.S.-Mexico border, I encourage it. Their promotion poster features explicit depictions of violence, including what appears to be an ICE officer lying dead on the ground, riddled with arrows. Oh my god. All the Antifa people, please feel free to come to Texas. We will welcome you with open arms.
Well, what is El Paso like?
El Paso is not exactly a nice place.
Do people walk around with guns there?
Dude, El Paso is like, it's not necessarily a dangerous city, but it is a border town, like right on the edge of Texas. So there is nothing around it. So yeah, there is definitely more. I haven't been there in a long time, so I'll clarify that. But when I was there, what I saw was a pretty strong gun culture, especially from the people that are there seasonally working.
Right.
Because there's a lot of country boys that end up in and out of that city, so there's definitely a lot of guns. There is a gun culture there. The police don't fuck around because it is a dangerous city. Not like, I mean, when I say dangerous city, I mean like dangerous like Houston is dangerous. I mean, yeah, it is dangerous, right. But it's not like...
Don't walk around in dark alleys at night.
Yeah, don't be an idiot. Don't be an idiot kind of dangerous. Yeah, if they actually went there and tried to pull anything, the police would tear them to pieces. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I first heard this, I thought that it was just like I thought it was a joke. Like Andy No reported it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if he's reporting it, then like he deals with Antifa a lot, so I don't think he would just make this up. But then again, he could just be reporting on it.
Yeah.
And so
could also be some sort of distraction. Like you never know with Antifa.
They're
not exactly the brightest, but they are clever.
It seems like one of those things where somebody made something and then they shared it around, and then they're just, I guess, trolling. It's just some sort of trolling. Like, oh, this is going to get I'm going to own the cons. The right wingers are going to get all freaked out. Like
it's the left. It's like a specifically left wing version of they can't stop all of us from getting into Area 51. That kind of thing.
Sort of. I'm trying to think of like a right wing version of this. But I can't think of something like that.
I don't know, but
like Pepe or something. I don't know. Where it's not racist, but like some people use it that way, but most of us just know that it's a joke. Like, is this the same thing? Like, most people sharing this know that it's just a stupid joke, but since we're not speaking the same language anymore, people on the right don't understand it as a joke and take it seriously because Antifa is a terrorist organization. Yeah, I don't actually think anything's going to happen about this. But if you look at the poster here on Andy's tweet, it has like Santa Cruz, Oakland, Olympia, which is in Washington, Portland. I'm guessing that's Portland, Oregon, and not Portland, Maine. Seattle, which is in Washington, Minneapolis, Chicago, and then
hashtag meet me in
Texas. Yeah, like,
dude, I would love to see them. Like, how do you even lay siege to a city like El Paso? It's kind of like there's no walls. It's in the middle of a fucking plain. There's nothing around it for like miles, like hundreds of miles.
You just set up camps.
What are they going to build? Ironic walls around El Paso?
No, but you just camp you find out what the main roadways are, and you camp around those, and then block those off.
Yeah, but if they do that, they're going to get fucking destroyed.
Well, yeah, like just get the National Guard to come out. But maybe that's what they want.
Honestly, the riot police could handle these fucking tools.
Well, yeah.
But like,
call the militia.
I mean, yeah, you actually kind of could. Like a lot of the country people out there, they probably could just roll through their bullshit too.
They just like the government's like, okay, if you want to beat up Antifa, we'll pay you $20 a day. Just don't kill them. You kill them, you don't get anything.
$20 a day.
$20 a mask? I don't know. What do you want?
Like,
I don't recommend this policy, but
I want $20 an hour to stand out there and tell Antifa to go fuck themselves.
$15 an hour.
I don't work for socialist chump change.
Why shouldn't it be 100?
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this too. Let's see, when is the Portland one? Oh, the Portland one's supposed to be today, August 2nd.
Is it happening?
I haven't heard of it, so probably not.
Well, if it does happen, it'll be big news in Texas. So I'll keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on this story. I think nothing's going to happen. I think Antifa is just trying to figure out what they can get people to do. So.
Yeah.
All right, I think we'll call it a night there, guys. We're both kind of losing a little energy, so that's a good place to start.
What are you talking about? I'm just as energetic as I ever was.
Well, you got to go back to work too.
That's true.
So thank you guys for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share because YouTube won't. And we will see you guys next week.
All right. Bye, guys.